Hold it flat until you can't no more. Yeah. And unfortunately, Graham Rahal's had fewer laps flat than the other way around so far this week. It's been a struggle for RLL, specifically on the 15 car, managing to keep it flat through 1 and 2 on this first lap.
And Graham is a guy, Scott, that historically we always see turning in pretty early, and then that early off, that right front tire is always dancing dangerously close to the seam of the dark rubbered in part of the track and the light gray. Look at that.
Anytime you get that front bind and you can see that wash across the road, the right front just heats up a lot, and you just create dramas for yourself later down the road. So yeah, Graham's probably going to have to tighten up a little bit.
It really just comes, I think, from his lack of being able to get the feeling he wants from the rear of the car on entry, which forces that earlier turn in, because it feels a little more comfortable at 230.5.
He's still pinned.
But progress so far, as Scott pointed out, wide open on the throttle, maybe the tiniest hint of a lift in turn 2, but this looks like progress.
A marked improvement. His average last time was a 228.686, so 230 will be reason for a smile at least from a man who's been pretty miserable all the way through this week, Graham Rahal.
Good second lap.
He'll see the times on the dash too, and you'll be like, okay, now I've got 2 laps to just hold on to this. You don't want to drop too much. Yeah, 229.9. He's got to try and just keep that up there.
But at least he's flat. He told us that he's barely been flat at any point. Little lift there in 1.
Yeah.
And lift again.
And 2's the hardest corner. That's where you're going to see the lift the most.
Still might be good enough.
Yeah, for sure.
Why is 2 so hard? Is it just the wind that's making it that way today?
Yeah, it's just you're getting a tailwind in, and then you're getting a push across the corner, so it's creating push on exit. So it's tough.
Less downforce on the way in,
yep.
More speed, yep. And then a crosswind mid-corner to push you off.
Doesn't allow you to turn.
Almost the worst of all situations.
Yep. Come to complete lap 3, and he has all that hybrid to use now on the final lap. Lap 3, though, slower, 229.3, but he needs to get after the button.
And right now, it's literally all he needs. It will move him up the field, and that is what he wants.
He hasn't used, there we go, on the back straight.
Big boost.
Yeah, they're using a faster deployment. You can see that some of the other cars have been running a full lap. He's using a faster one.
Saving the last 40%. Give it a squirt out of 4 and to the line. Graham Rahal, 1 corner to go. 40% a hybrid. Does he deploy it now? Yeah. Straight out of 4.
I'll bet this
down
gives
the straight.
him what he needs.
Needs the time to move up across the line for Rahal. It's a 229.863. Moves him up, but only a little. It's good enough for 28th. We have cars in lane 1, principally that of Marco Andretti, and behind him it looks like the crew of Rinus VeeKay are getting ready as well. What that means, they take the priority. With 17 minutes remaining, they're ready to put their lap time in the trash and go again. For Andretti, it doesn't matter. He's out as it stands anyway. He's in the 31st place as it is. Just a few little wing changes there on the rear wing. He's 31st as it stands, Marco Andretti. So we would have to fight for the right to be in the 500 anyway. You might as well go to the priority line. Take your chances, gamble, withdraw your time. VeeKay will do exactly the same thing because he's on the outside looking in as well. Last chance saloon for Marco Andretti. Kevin Lee down in pit lane.
And Marco Andretti, as they rolled up to the front of the line, was asking, why are we going now? Because we are to the point that there is not going to be time to get another run for Marco Andretti. Rinus VeeKay is in the fast lane. He's going to go out next.
And we might just be seeing the bumpers to try to get their way and lock themselves into the Indy 500 at this point. With just 16 minutes remaining, expect to see Andretti. We know VeeKay is in line. Of course, we're going to see Marco. He's on track. But Jacob Abel and Marcus Armstrong almost certainly are going to go to the priority lane in the next few minutes.
Lane 2 right now has Connor Daly at the point. There's a very good chance he's not going to get an opportunity to go out if all of these cars that are on the outside looking in, that's 31st position and above. You see how there's no position and no times next to both Andretti and VeeKay. Rahal sitting on the bubble in 30th at a 229.8. Just a reminder, even though he doesn't have a time technically, the last time for Andretti was a 229.4 average.
And as the track cools down, Will, even guys like Jack Harvey, Colton Herta should not be feeling too comfortable. If Marco goes quick and VeeKay goes quick, all of a sudden those guys will be on the bubble.
Look for the numbers. 229.863. That is the speed that Marco Andretti has to beat. Even if it's 229.864, that's enough to get him in and push Graham Rahal out. And at the moment, he's tracking just behind Rahal. Two racing dynasties here. Graham, son of Bobby. Marco, son of Michael himself, the son of Mario. The greatest of all time.
You saw some different lines there into 3 and 4. Graham turning in a little bit earlier. Marco a little bit later. You saw the difference on the exit as well. Marco just not quite with the speed. He had a big warm-up lap. His first one is a 2:30.4. That in itself is enough, but he's got to keep the consistency. It's got to be there by lap 4.
That is the one thing that this Andretti car has had this weekend. Over this entire week is that consistency, but does Marco have that consistency? 2:30.486, needs something around the mid-230s to keep it on trend.
Graham Rahal sat in his race car, looking, waiting. He is on the bubble. If he gets bumped, he'll pull out of line 2, go straight into line 1, because he is out. He has nothing to lose.
Andretti loses time, but critically, look at the average. It's a 2:30.1. That's enough to move ahead of Rahal. Needs to keep the speed, needs to keep the pace.
Call from pit lane comes from Marco Andretti to start to deploy the hybrid. At the same time, I'm watching Marco Andretti start to open his hands up. It looked pretty narrow off of turn 3. He's one of the narrowest racing lines today, leaving a lot of room between his right side tires and the wall.
Comes down to take the white flag, start his 4th and final lap. It's a 2:30.2. He is tracking to make it into the field.
The only person, as it was a little wiggle for Marco on the exit of 1, you see a throttle lift in 2. The only person whose heart rate is higher right now than Marco Andretti is Graham Rahal, sitting, watching, seeing if he's going to get bumped from the field.
And the last place Graham Rahal wants to be is fighting to get into the Indy 500. He's had to do it for the last 2 years. He's been bumped in his most recent memories.
But that one tiny moment in turn 1 where Marco Andretti had to check up to save potentially his race car might have been too much.
Has he done enough? Is he in the show? Marco Andretti, it's a 229.859. It is not enough by a hair's breadth. I think that makes it 4 1,000ths of a second.
Wow.
4 1,000ths of a mile an hour, my apologies. 4 1,000ths.
The standard lane is on the clock, and here he is rolling now.
Daly looking to move up from 21st on the grid, and crucially what that means is that Andretti didn't get themselves into position at the end of the pit lane in time to be able to jump Daly and use that priority lane to get out on the track.
What Marco Andretti needs right now is for Connor Daly to not go fast and get waved off, as we understand that the 98 has been fueled and the Mapei team will race him to the front of the line. This is where things get dramatic. There's a lot of yelling down there.
Lots of panic down on pit lane. I've seen this situation unfold many times. It is controlled chaos. You can see the bottom of your screen. The 98 continuing to push down pit lane. As you say, Townsend, they need the 76 to struggle on this run, for it to be called off early and to thus be given the opportunity to go out and try to bump their way back into the field.
But for Connor Daly, he wants a shot at making the top 12, but he sits 21st. It would be a big surprise to find that much speed, but track temp is helping him out as the ambient down to just 72. Track temp is still 99.
All Daly needs to do to not get this run waved off is keep his average above 231.221. That is his average as it stands. If he's tracking faster than that, he will move up the field. He may not make the top 12, but he will move up the field, and that is what this run is all about, as now he goes for it. Into turn 1, slight little lift of the throttle. He's good through 2. Connor Daly on a run.
214 warm-up on the lower end of most common numbers, usually around a 217, 218.
Unless you're Santino Ferrucci.
Unless you're Santino Ferrucci.
And if he finishes this run, I'm pretty sure time will be up for Marco Andretti. So all eyes on this first lap time will tell us so much.
2:31.2 is what he needs. 2:31.7 is what he's got. Connor Daly improving around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
2:31.8 is what he needs to crack into that top 12. Can he find speed? We have seen it before today. Runs getting quicker as they go.
And the track temperature dropping now under 100. It's 99.7 degrees. Conditions good. Wind middling as Daly comes round turn 4 to complete his second tour of the Motor Speedway. 2:31.7 was lap 1. What's he got for lap 2? 2:31.8, and he's up. 2:31.822. That would be enough for the 12.
And the balance of the race car looking very good as Connor Daly not only on track to improve his position, but narrowly chasing Christian Lundgaard, who sits 12th, and a chance for Daly to bump himself into the big show on Sunday.
In 40 seconds, the ceremonial pistol will be fired and qualifying will be concluded. Any cars on track can finish their run, but Marco will not get out. It's all now Connor Daly.
One lap to go. White flag waves for Connor Daly, the man who had his very first run today taken away from him for a technical infringement. His front wing a little bit too low. That third lap, 2:31.871. He is cracking for the top 12. A little wobble, a little lift. 50% hybrid remains for Connor Daly, the local hero from Noblesville, Indiana, to make his way into the 12 with the final run of the day. The pistol fires. Daly is pinned. Turn 4. Half a mile to go for Connor Daly.
Come on,
the
kid.
Indianapolis Motor Speedway to make it into the top 12, to fight for pole. Has he done it? No! It's a 2:31.725. Heartbreak for Daly. Heartbreak for Daly, but my word, he will start from 13th place.
And a massive relief for Graham Rahal. And a very frustrating end for Marco Andretti. Graham Rahal in the Indy 500 solidly.
Andretti, VK, Abel and Armstrong will have to fight for the right to race in the Indianapolis 500.